Master Grade Sazabi, version Ka. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert 184, 2Rs2B's gundam.tk. The Master Grade Sazabi 2013 December's big release is finally, well, it's all put together, and now you've seen all the individual parts and their crazy transformations and all. But now it's time to turn those into something that is going to be looking like a pretty sweet MS as he goes to take on his eternal new enemy. Somebody who back in the day dreamed of getting a 1/100th Sazabi after seeing Char's Counterattack? Well, the first MG will do, pig, but this one is an absolute piece of art. I'm just blown away. I've seen it put together in shops, but this is the first time that I've actually assembled mine here, and I thought the new Gundam MG was huge and towered because of his height, but this guy is an absolute beast, thick through and through, and just the color details are popping out at every possible opportunity. Between the black of the knees, the silver, the grays poking out there, the different shades of red, the gray under the yellow, under the reds, all over the place for the boosters. This guy is ready for action. Before the upper body, if the lower part didn't do it for you, look at those thrusters back there, all the gray and yellow details, the gray protruding from the shoulders, boosters underneath everywhere, the piping, the angry eyes, and just again, detail upon detail, and those seals on the shoulders, everything's working. And you may have seen that he was almost too big for my turntable. Well, how about this little scale? Half a kilo of awesomeness. Now, before I go to the posability here, I've got to say that I think this is the largest Gundam kit I've ever put together. MG Xianggu, Perfect, Not Yet, and a whole bunch of others. So I think this is the biggest kit, so I'm just not quite used to just how large this thing is. And because of that, it doesn't feel that flimsy, but it also just has a lot more bulk all around it to move around on you. So what do you get for posability? Well, let's see. The skirts, well, you may have seen when I put them together that the side skirts popped off just a little bit there. A little bit weak, and they do fall down a little too easily. The hips are going to be sliding forward and back nicely there. The legs can come up, if you don't mind dislocating the skirt completely there, for a ridiculously high Char kick. If you hold this up out of the way, though, you're not going to be getting anything too fancy for the hip department, but you do get that incredible knee bend, which never gets tiring, and the ankles are going to move incredibly well, not to mention this part and the toes, and all the hulking out parts and the clamps underneath. Though the waist is a little bit unimpressive in terms of solidity, well, let's see about how it can move for the upper body. First of all, you'll see that he's staying in place there. You can see a little bit of an ab crunch over there. And the shoulder, if you saw the parts part, remember it's got a peg that's actually going to be holding it in there. So let's see, you can pull this out, it will be banging into that backpack there, but you can get the shoulder up and out of the way somewhat. So what could you do in terms of twisting? Well, not all that much, but at the same time, no, that's pretty impressive, although it does feel awfully loose inside if you try to do anything too crazy. However, the shoulder's going to be moving nicely, that elbow, very smooth. He's not going to be able to reach across and touch his other arm, but everything you'd expect is going to be moving properly on the head, menacingly staring down, looking up. And look at that, you can see the gray part moving there, whether it should be or not. I've got the LED in there at the moment. And if you're staring straight on, I think that's the angle we're going to be interested in for these. You'll see that they're going to have about this range of motion, and from the back, these, well, they don't move all that much, but then again, it's all about the front view. From the very beginning, I've been excited to see how tall this guy is going to be, and compared to the 3.0, which is no slouch and very average, well, the definition of average perhaps. In terms of lead Gundams, well, you can see that Char's suits are properly bigger, and this Sazabi, getting to mid-UC, is exactly where it should be. He's also going to be a lot taller than the Shinanju Stein, which is of course supposed to be one of the bigger UC kits. Then again, this guy, from his lack of headwear, is clearly not a leader. But this is the height challenge I've wanted to see from the very beginning, full on. It's full frontal and his Shinanju OVA version compared to the Sazabi, and definitely this guy's a little bit showing his age over here, although I do really think that his red is going to be popping on. That OVA coloring is fantastic. However, when you get into the real grade / master grade stylings of having the multiple colors, this guy's definitely going to be looking more new school. And just the little details over here, you're going to see that under this, he's just got regular yellow, where he's got yellow on gray details, gray protruding all over the place. None of that over here. The only edge that, of course, the Shinanju is going to be having is that wingspan on the back is going to be looking more impressive. And, of course, the gold bling. But remember, this guy has a little bit of his own silver to reveal later. But doppelgangers, clones, or what have you aside, ultimately, it's got to come down to this. Amuro and his new Gundam up against Char's Sazabi. Here, this is the titanium coming out, well, a year earlier for the regular version. The titanium coming out after for a lot more money. And you can just see here that the head height is just about right, you'd say, over there. If you got rid of Char's antennas, the heads would be pretty similar over there. Of course, the new is going to take the edge with the funnels before they all get deployed, and in terms of the bling department, well, the titanium is going to be winning for now, but you'd imagine that as we saw with their extra finish combo a few years ago, that this guy will be getting the titanium treatment next year. But the one department where Char may be feeling just a little bit behind the competition is that compared to Amuro and his extras there, with the custom A action base, the clear stand holding him up, and go double, triple, quadruple fin funnels if you'd like, not to mention the effect parts there. Well, here it just seems in terms of add-ons and extra money to spend that Char is going to have to just settle for his massive beastly size, and it'll be interesting to see how the silver is going to be stacking up compared to that clear green. Or red. But there is more bulk to be added over here between the shield, which fits on nicely to the forearm, and the shot. And though it takes some extra effort and perhaps a knife to get everything in, you can rest assured that with the emotion manipulators and their pegs, that things are going to stay in place. And perhaps I should be bringing back my new Gundam with its triple funnels out there, because that shield is an absolute beast. I'm so appreciative of the fact that it can rotate forward, so you can actually have it come forward without twisting his elbow awkwardly forward. The black gun in hand there is it's very nice, that glossy black that we see there. You're not going to be seeing much of the backpack, just those little bits over the shoulders. But the part you do see on the shield with those gray little details, the marking, and the red parts for the shot, this guy's ready for war. And not just that, but he's functional in a fight. Now, from the very beginning, when I tried to pose it here, once I had him sort of lurch backwards. That was my new Gundam falling down over there. Speaking of weight problems and a lack of balance. But this guy, so far, it was just the one time, so I'm hoping it was just pre-video jitters there. And the arms, so once when I put it up here for the shot, it just, it fell down. But overall, actually, it's doing a very good job, despite the fact that it is a monster kit of staying in place, and a shield like this should be causing all sorts of problems all over the place. First try, when you try to get up there so he's staring down the barrel, it's going to be looking good, and it just brings even more of the colors and the seals into the foreground. And of course, you can have just a little bit of fun positioning the funnel launchers there to get them where you want them to be. And though moving them isn't perfect here, this emotive manipulator has been falling off quite a few times over there, as just the fact that it's going to have this part around it is going to prevent it from twisting. And let's see if he's going to be dropping back there. So far, so good. Actually, I'm surprised. I thought this would run into the old problem that we've seen with a million other things like bazookas, where they fit in hand and they just get in the way of the forearm, as he leans there. But anyway, it seems to be working for the most part better than the beam sabers, surprisingly. But then again, just the fact that you can get that shield up there despite its massive weight, shift these off in the other direction there, point his toes wherever they want, go for the hip maneuverings. Remember, with none of his boosters or silver frame exposed and just a simple beam in hand, this guy is still looking deadly. And the tomahawks, whether you're going to keep them separate or underneath the shield here, are nice and easy to get in. They don't have their own peg system, so it's only going to be the manipulators, but no problem keeping them in hand. And if you saw my parts part, well, this shield is going to hook on nicely to the shoulder. It is also going to hook on nicely here. So far, no weight issues with it. It's just going to be a lot more complicated, as there are a lot of moving parts involved with that upper body. And yes, problems are developing a little bit over time here. The left leg is popped off on me, just trying to get him into a regular pose. This part was up a little further before it sort of collapsed downwards. But look at that. If you like the Shinanju and its great effect parts in the gold yellow, here having it in its classic green is going to be even better. The shorts look fantastic, the longs look fantastic, and of course you've always got the option of swapping them off if you want to go like this, and of course put them together. But those angry eyes as he dashes towards you with a menacing bend to the legs, and again, maneuver the thrusters exactly as you want. This guy is ready for melee business, and definitely worth a 500-point buff in the melee department alone. So this guy is a lot of fun as soon as you put him together, thanks to the size, the color choices, and just the overall awesomeness and air of superiority about him. Of course, when you go for poses, it's going to be slightly problematic as millions of moving parts, well, not quite that many, is going to be leading you to believe. But stick around, I'm going to have one more part where I'm going to show off a few more poses and that silver frame out, and I'll have my final thoughts of the verdict. So please let me know what you think of this guy, your first impressions when you put him together, and your impressions about his flexibility and solidness, or lack thereof, as time has gone on from December last year. Anyway, everybody, thanks for watching. Please let me know what you think and stick around for more. See you, everybody.